This month, in recognition of B.B. Moore Campbell, National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, Unapologetically Black Unicorns is proud to present a special 5-part series on Black youth mental health, supported by Hopelab and featuring the Hopelab HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, Translational Science Fellows. The music featured throughout this series comes from A New Deal for Youth, an album produced through a New Deal for Youth initiative, a program of the National Collaborative for Youth Policy. It amplifies the voices, creativity, and leadership of young people. We hope this series informs, motivates, and reminds us all of the importance of investing in mental health and well-being of Black youth. So let's cue the music and let's get into it.
New deal for youth. What you wanna do here? New deal for youth. What you wanna do here? New deal. Change it up, I need a new feel. New deal. My problems is too real. New deal.
Welcome and welcome back to Unapologetically Black Unicorns. This is your hostess, Karis Myrick, and we have a new series where we are going to be focusing and talking to some folks doing really interesting work in the area of Black youth mental health. And in order to do this series, I actually am in partnership with someone, and I have them here today with me just to help kick it off and help everybody understand what's going on. So, Julie, can you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I sure can. And I'm super happy to be here with you, Karis. So my name is Julie Tinker. I use she and her pronouns in case you're wondering. And I am a principal at Hopelab. Hopelab is a nonprofit operating foundation, to be specific, and we are focused on supporting the mental health and well-being of Black, brown, and queer young people. My background's in design and social science, and I'm super passionate about everyone having the things they need and well-being at the center of the things we design.
Awesome. And can you talk a little bit about some of the other work that you do in your role? I've been fortunate to partner with you with my work at Inseparable and be able to see sort of the design aspects of things that you do, and also some of the other programs and initiatives that you've started, especially the one that's related to Black youth mental health.
Totally. Yeah. So I like to tell people that Hopelab does a few different things in the ways that we work. We try and uncover research that's out in the world around youth mental health and well-being and translational science, which people have a lot of definitions around, but we define that as just getting the research out of academia and into practice. And then we also invest in innovators in the space of youth mental health and fund youth-centered solutions. I'm excited to talk to you today about the HBCU Translational Science Fellowship, which I've had the great pleasure of leading. And currently, that group is made up of 2 cohorts of 6 of faculty researchers from HBCUs. They represent 9 different historically Black colleges and universities. I should break it down. Mm-hmm. And through this fellowship, we support them in their work where they have a translational science project that takes their research, an existing body of research, and gets it into practice, whether that be for a digital health solution for Black youth or around policy or around programs and services that benefit young people. So that's the gist of what we're doing there. I'll give you a couple of examples. I think that's helpful. In some cases, I was mentioning digital health. Dr. Natalie Watson-Singleton is working on an app called Blackfulness. Some folks may know it. It delivers mindfulness and meditation skills and activities to Black community members. And she's using her fellowship to convert that content and that app to be youth-facing. So that's one project. Dr. Billy Cowsell is another who's working on policy and advocacy training for youth in Louisiana so that they might have a seat at the table and know how to advocate for policy around their youth mental health around their mental health and climate change. So a range of the kinds of solutions, but at all of that, young people at the center, and as much as possible, young people in the co-creating and engagement of how those solutions come to be, which is a definitely a big tenet of how Hopelab works.
That's awesome. And I love hearing about these, different initiatives, and, was fortunate to see, one of the cohorts, work, and it was so exciting. And so I think for our listeners, why did you start this program? Like, why is it important to have a HBCU translational science program?
Love it. It's a great question. So about 3 years ago, we started thinking about this program. We've been running it for the last 2 years. And it really came about because we were hoping to deepen our impact around Black youth well-being specifically. Hopelab has a long history of working in research and translational science. However, we do not have a long history of working with researchers from HBCUs. And we noted that we have a network gap, really, as to where the opportunities we were offering as an organization could go. And we had a single translational science fellow. So we had one fellow named Dr. Charity Brown Griffin from Winston-Salem State University. Shout out Charity. And she joined us, and she's the one that really opened our eyes to the opportunity to support more researchers from HBCUs and create and explore this current program together. So she really was an advisor and an author with us. And she helped us really recognize the brilliance and expertise that HBCU faculty researchers hold, given the institutions that they're part of, the communities that they work with directly, and their expertise on Black youth well-being, which comes from their research, but also their lived experiences. And so from there, I don't know, it was really not hard from that point on to see what an amazing opportunity it is to support leaders in Black youth well-being. And it just became clear that we needed to be working with researchers at HBCUs.
Yeah. And, so good to hear this. My father taught at HBCUs. He went to an HBCU.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. I didn't, neither did my brother. Okay. So no shade, honestly.
Me neither, but in next life, that's what I would hope for.
Exactly. But I think we know that, this is an unserved, untapped well of researchers and work. And one of the things we've talked about, though, related to the work is it started off as translational science, which
Correct.
you defined.
Yes.
So where is the program now? Can you talk a little bit about what's up now?
Yes, I sure can. I'm really excited about the next phase of the fellowship. As you mentioned, we started in this place of, translational science and research, and still very focused and know that that's important work that needs to get out in the world. We have our first cohort of 6 officially ending their fellowship in June. And the second cohort will continue to develop their projects through the second year, next year, 2026 to 2027. But the thing that we're designing for and fundraising for, importantly, I will add, is the next phase, which we're calling HBCU Field Leaders in Black Youth Wellbeing. We've learned a lot running the fellowship in the last 2 years, but important to note is the value of cohort leaders, these 12 awesome HBCU fellows who are now connected to each other, right? They're now in community with each other. They can share resources. They can collaborate. They can connect and empower each other. We've heard a lot about how empowering this program has been for them. And what we're hoping to do is create a long tail of support where we can provide professional development, leadership development, opportunities that get their voices out into the world, doing things like media training or putting them on advisory boards where they can consult or add their expertise to mental health companies, programs, policy spaces. So we know that they have a deep knowledge in Black youth well-being, and they can then put it into play. And we know these cross-sector partnerships, right? As you know, I know very well, are just really key at that being possible. So we're hoping this is the next phase where we can really build upon all the greatness that we've created in this community and get them out into the world even more.
Fantastic. And I'm so excited that we're doing this. It's going to be a short series, but we're going to talk with some of the HBCU fellows who've been part of the work to tell us about what they've been doing in the space of Black youth mental health. So again, doing what we can to use the podcast as another, I would say, mechanism to get the word out there and to spread the word. So I look forward to doing more of that. I'm so glad that you joined me to kick it off so that, our next episode would be Intro to Black Youth Mental Health will be, episode 1, if you will, of Black Youth Mental Health with the HBCU fellows. So thank you so much, Julie, for number 1, creating such a beautiful program, and sharing your knowledge, with me and our listeners. And just thanks for joining us on Unapologetically Black Unicorns.
It's my great, great pleasure. And I can't wait to hear the stories.
Awesome sauce. All right, folks. So you all know what to do at this point. Wait, do you have a piece of wisdom that you would like to drop? I always do that. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I could forget about the wisdom dropping.
I'll drop some wisdom.
Okay, cool.
I have lots of little bits, but the one that I would drop, that connects to this, I would just say, whatever work it is you do out in the world, if you're like a funder, you're a foundation, you're an innovator, you work in whatever sector of business, look to historically Black colleges and think about how you might partner with them, because they're truly amazing. And there's 107 of them. And that's my wisdom, is to get involved.
Snap, clap, thumbs up. I love that. Nothing to say after that, except what my producer Garrett says, which is to remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But most importantly, we both agree on this, is to please share. We never know who needs to hear these important messages, and to tune in for the series, Black Youth Mental Health. All right. Until then, I'll see you next time on Unapologetically Black Unicorns. Thanks for listening to this special Black Youth Mental Health series from Unapologetically Black Unicorns. You can listen to the complete series on our YouTube playlist as each episode is released, and you can find a link to A New Deal for Youth, the album featured throughout this series, in the show notes. So join us next week for another power-filled convo with one of the Hopelab HBCU Translational Science Fellows. And until then, you be you, because there's only one unapologetically you, and that's exactly who the world needs. Thanks for listening to Unapologetically Black Unicorns.